On the edge of the known galaxy, the starship Helios drifted near the orbit of an uncharted planet. Its crew, a diverse group of humans from various corners of the Earth, was on a routine survey mission to explore and map unknown space sectors. The command bridge buzzed with low chatter and the hum of computers as Captain Alara Miles surveyed the data on the main screen. "Anything out of the ordinary, Jensen?" Captain Miles asked, turning to her navigation officer. "Just the usual stellar dust and cosmic rays, Captain," Jensen replied, his eyes not leaving the array of screens in front of him. But as soon as the words left his mouth, a sudden blip caught his attention. "Wait, scratch that. We've got something large on the outer sensor ring. Bringing it up now." The image materialized on the main screen, a massive, sprawling creature adrift in space. It was unlike anything the crew had seen before. The creature's body shimmered with iridescent scales, each one reflecting the starlight in vibrant colors. It seemed to be lifeless, floating aimlessly in the void. "Is that alive?" asked Dr. Lin Tran, the ship's biologist, her voice a mix of awe and concern. "It's hard to say from here," Captain Miles responded. "Let's get closer. Prepare for a short-range scan." The Helios adjusted its course, approaching the creature with caution. As they neared, the scale of the beast became apparent. It was nearly as large as the ship itself. The scanning equipment whirred and beeped, gathering data rapidly. "Results are in," said Jensen. "It's alive, barely. Life signs are weak. It seems to be in some kind of stasis or hibernation." The crew exchanged looks of excitement and concern. "Why would something like this be way out here?" pondered Marco Silva, the ship's engineer. "It doesn't make any sense." "We need to report this to command immediately," Captain Miles decided. "But first, let's see if we can help it. Prepare an external medical bay. Lin, you're with me. We're going out there." A small team, suited in space gear, ventured out from the Helios. Approaching the giant creature, they were struck by its beauty and the sad reality of its condition. It bore wounds that looked like they were caused by meteoroid impacts and possibly other space debris. Using their advanced medical equipment, Dr. Tran began to administer care. "I'm applying regenerative serum to the wounds. Let's hope this helps it heal." Back on the ship, tension rose as they awaited results. Suddenly, the creature's eyes flickered. It was a subtle movement, but enough to stir excitement. "It's responding," Lin exclaimed over the comms. As they worked, a deep, resonating sound vibrated through the creature's body, almost like a purr of acknowledgement or perhaps gratitude. The humans, in their bulky suits, continued their work, driven by a sense of duty and compassion. "This is incredible," Captain Miles said, watching the creature slowly stir back to life. "We came looking for uncharted stars, but instead, we found a life form unknown to any database or science back home." The creature's revival was slow, but steady. As it regained some vitality, it started to move, its gigantic body causing minor tidal forces that the ship's stabilizers had to adjust for. "Let's get back inside," Captain Miles ordered. "We've done what we can for now. It needs time to heal." Once back aboard the Helios, the crew watched through the viewports as the creature slowly began to swim through the void of space, its movements graceful and deliberate. "It seems we've made a new friend," Dr. Tran remarked with a soft smile. "Or perhaps," Captain Miles added, "we've just repaid a small part of our debt to the universe for allowing us to explore its wonders." As the alien beast regained its strength, the Helios resumed its course, leaving behind a beacon for other ships to avoid unintentionally harming the majestic creature. But the encounter left a lasting impression on every crew member, a reminder of their vulnerability and the profound connections possible even in the vast, cold reaches of space. The Helios continued its voyage, its sensors finely tuned to detect further anomalies. The recent encounter had intensified their mission, embedding a newfound respect for the life forms dwelling in the cosmic ocean. Captain Miles convened a meeting with her senior staff in the ship's cramped but functional conference room. "Our next step," she began, checking the star map projected in the center of the table, "is to explore Sector 47B. It's uncharted, and after what we've just witnessed, who knows what else we might find." Jensen interjected. The sector's rim is littered with asteroid belts and rogue comets. It's a navigation nightmare, but could hide similar life forms or even civilizations. As the Helios maneuvered towards Sector 47B, Dr. Tran busied herself in the lab, analyzing the data collected from their giant friend. She isolated a series of low-frequency emissions from the creature, pondering whether they were communicative efforts or mere biological functions. Her instruments decoded patterns that resembled a language, an astonishing revelation that required further investigation. Meanwhile, in the engine room, Marco noticed an irregularity in the ship's energy output. "We're draining more power than usual. It seems like something's leaching our energy," he reported via his communicator. Troubled, he ran diagnostics and discovered a faint, unknown energy signature mingling with their systems, subtly altering the flow. Back on the bridge, the anomaly escalated as the ship neared an asteroid field. The navigation screens flickered unnervingly. "Something's interfering with our systems," Jensen stated, his voice laced with concern as he struggled to maintain control. "Could it be related to the creature we helped?" Captain Miles wondered aloud. "Lynn, any insights?" Dr. Tran, still absorbed by her research, responded, "Captain, the patterns, they're not just random. I think the creature was trying to communicate. Maybe it was sending a distress signal, or a warning." The ship trembled slightly as they approached the dense asteroid field. Sudden sharp beeps echoed through the bridge. Proximity alerts, large rocks coupled with the mysterious energy drain, made navigation perilous. "Full stop!" Captain Miles ordered. "We need to figure out what's happening before we go any further." As the ship halted, the crew felt an eerie stillness, a stark contrast to the usual hum of the engines. The lights dimmed momentarily, then stabilized. "It's like we're not alone," Silva murmured, tapping into the ship's external cameras. The view screens flicked to life, revealing the asteroid field around them, but with a stunning addition. Among the floating rocks, hundreds of smaller creatures, similar in form to the giant they had encountered but only the size of spacesuits, danced through the void. They seemed to be feeding on the energy emitted by the asteroids, and perhaps the Helios itself. "This field, it's a nursery," Dr. Tran realized, her voice filled with wonder. "And our friend, the giant, maybe it was their protector, stranded and unable to care for them." The crew watched in awe as the creatures emitted the same iridescent glow they had seen on the larger beast, pulsing gently in the darkness of space. "We need to study them, but without interfering," Captain Miles decided. "Let's set up passive observation protocols and keep our distance. We have a unique opportunity to witness something truly remarkable." As the Helios settled into a cautious orbit around the asteroid field, the crew prepared their instruments. They were no longer just explorers charting unknown stars. They had become guardians of a cosmic nursery, witnesses to the delicate balance of life in the universe, silently vowing to protect these creatures and their environment as they continued their explorations. Under the dim glow of distant stars, the Helios hovered near the asteroid nursery, its sensors delicately tuned to observe the cosmic ballet of the smaller creatures. The crew worked in shifts, documenting behaviors and interactions, captivated by the life forms that shimmered with the same spectral light as their protector. In the lab, Dr. Tran's research took a deep dive into the creature's communication patterns. "These signals are structured, complex. It's not just basic instincts. There's intent here," she noted, her voice tinged with excitement. As she pieced together fragments of the alien language, she began broadcasting mimicked patterns back into space, testing for responses. The creatures reacted immediately, their movements becoming more synchronized and purposeful. They seemed to recognize the signals, gathering in larger clusters around the Helios. "They're intelligent," Lynn concluded, "and I believe they're curious about us." In the engineering bay, Marco grappled with the ship's continuous energy fluctuations. "It's as if the ship itself is becoming part of the asteroid field's ecosystem," he observed. His adjustments to the power grid became more conservative, minimizing the output to reduce the creature's dependency on their energy while maintaining essential systems. Captain Miles kept a vigilant watch from the bridge. The interaction with these life forms was groundbreaking, but she remained cautious. "We're treading new ground here, team. Let's ensure our actions are ethical and safe." Her concerns were justified when a new development unfolded. The ship's sensors detected an incoming object at high speed. Initial scans suggested it was not a natural celestial body, but something manufactured. "We have an incoming craft," Jensen reported, his tone urgent, "and it's heading straight for the nursery." The crew prepared for contact. As the craft approached, it became clear it was not just any spacecraft, but a harvester, likely from a technologically advanced civilization that mined asteroids for resources. The harvester deployed nets and beams, aiming towards the asteroids and the creatures among them. "We can't let this happen," Captain Miles declared, her decision firm. "Hail them, Jensen. They may not realize there are sentient beings here." Communication attempts were met with static and disregard. The harvester continued its operations, disturbing the nursery. The creatures, sensing the threat, began to emit distressed frequencies, which resonated painfully through the Helios's audio systems. Dr. Tran, quick thinking, amplified the creatures' distress signals using the ship's external speakers. The intensified cries reached the harvester, causing it to pause. The operators on board the harvester were visibly confused, their movements visible through the illuminated windows of their cockpit. "It's working," Lin whispered. "They can hear them." A tense moment passed, then another. Finally, the harvester withdrew, retracting its equipment. It lingered for a moment, as if in contemplation, before turning away and speeding off into the depths of space. Relief washed over the crew, but the victory was sobering. "We've protected them for now," Captain Miles reflected, "but this won't be the last threat they face." The event spurred a new mission directive. Alongside their exploratory objectives, the crew of the Helios committed to safeguarding the nursery and advocating for the recognition of these new life forms as sentient beings deserving of rights and protection. Their data would be vital in arguing for a sanctuary zone around the asteroid field. As the Helios resumed its watch over the nursery, the creatures returned to their peaceful flow, their colors slowly brightening again in the starlight. Their survival, intertwined with the actions of the humans who had chosen to defend rather than exploit, marked a hopeful chapter in the annals of interstellar relations, a testament to the understanding that could arise even in the silent expanses between stars. The Helios maintained its vigilant orbit around the asteroid nursery, now officially recognized as a protected zone following Captain Miles's report to Earth's United Space Agency. The declaration had brought a surge of interest and support, along with the necessary resources to enforce the sanctuary's boundaries. As the news spread across human territories, a small fleet of research vessels converged on the sector, each equipped to study and understand but not disturb the delicate ecosystem that the Helios crew had fought to protect. Among these was the Artemis, a ship specializing in xenolinguistics and communication. Dr. Lin Tran welcomed the team from the Artemis, led by Dr. Emil Rajan, a renowned expert in alien communication. "Your findings have opened a new field of study," Emil commented as they toured the lab. "These creatures are not just living beings, they're sentient, capable of complex emotional and intellectual exchanges." Together, they expanded the experiments, sending more sophisticated signals and recording the responses. The creatures, growing accustomed to human presence, interacted with increasing complexity, altering their light patterns and movements to communicate. Meanwhile, Captain Miles and her officers attended to the growing traffic in the sector. The sanctuary status had deterred most industrial activity, but curiosity and the potential for black market interest in the creatures posed a new risk. "Regulations are strict, but enforcement is going to be a challenge," Captain Miles discussed with her security officer, Lieutenant Harrow. They deployed drones and set up monitoring stations on selected asteroids, creating a buffer zone to prevent unauthorized access. Back on the Helios, Marco and his engineering team noticed a peculiar anomaly. The ship's energy levels began to stabilize more than expected, even with the reduced output. "It seems the creatures have adapted to our presence, maybe even managing their energy intake," Marco theorized. "Or perhaps they're contributing somehow. It's as if they're sharing their own energy with us." This hypothesis led to a groundbreaking discovery when further analysis revealed that the creatures emitted a form of bioenergy capable of harmonizing with the ship's systems. They're not just adapting, they're synergizing with the Helios, Marco reported, his voice laced with excitement and disbelief. The phenomenon sparked a flurry of scientific inquiry across the fleet. Researchers hypothesized that the creatures had evolved to interact with their environment in ways previously unimaginable, suggesting possibilities for energy exchange and sustainability that could revolutionize human technology. In the midst of these developments, a distress call echoed through the sector, originating from a civilian vessel that had strayed too close to the outer rim of the sanctuary. It had been caught in a gravitational anomaly, its systems failing. Without hesitation, Captain Miles dispatched a rescue team. As the Helios approached, the stranded vessel's crew prepared for evacuation. But the rescue operation took an unexpected turn when the creatures intervened directly. As if sensing the peril, they surrounded the civilian ship, their bodies glowing intensely. The gravitational pull lessened inexplicably, stabilizing the vessel enough for the Helios's team to extract the endangered crew. "The creatures! They saved them!" Jensen remarked in awe as they watched the operation from the bridge. "Yes, they did," Captain Miles replied, her voice filled with pride and wonder. "It seems our roles as guardians are mutual." This act of rescue, witnessed by the entire fleet, cemented the creature's status not only as beings of intelligence, but as partners in the shared space of the galaxy. It shifted the narrative from protection to coexistence, shaping future policies and interactions in human space exploration. With each day, the bond between humans and these alien beings deepened, guided by a shared understanding and the mutual benefits of their relationship, heralding a new era of cooperation in the cosmic community. The cooperative spirit between the humans and the creatures was flourishing. But the increasing activities around the sanctuary attracted unwanted attention. A shadowy consortium of resource extraction corporations, known for exploiting legal loopholes for profit, had set their sights on the asteroid nursery. Their interest was not in the creatures, but in the rare minerals embedded within the asteroids protected by the sanctuary status. Captain Miles received intelligence reports from Earth's United Space Agency detailing suspicious movements near the sector's boundaries. "We have potential threats at the perimeter," she briefed her senior staff. "It's not just about keeping the peace anymore. We need to be proactive in defending this sanctuary." In response, the crew of the Helios and their allied vessels intensified their patrols, incorporating advanced cloaking technologies to monitor without revealing their presence. Meanwhile, Dr. Tran and Dr. Rajan expanded their research into using the creature's bioenergy patterns as a form of natural defense, hypothesizing that these patterns could disrupt unauthorized mining equipment. As the consortium began testing the sanctuary's defenses, probing for weaknesses, the creatures responded to the disturbances with heightened displays of energy. Observing these interactions, Marco developed a resonance device that could amplify and broadcast the creature's energy patterns over a wide area, effectively creating a barrier that interfered with the consortium's electronic systems. "The first test of the resonance barrier was more successful than we anticipated," Marco reported during a strategy meeting. "Their drones were disabled before they could even reach the inner zone. It seems the bioenergy harmonizes with electronic frequencies to create a natural deterrent." Emboldened by this success, the Helios team worked tirelessly to refine the technology, installing resonance emitters on key asteroids throughout the nursery. The creatures, sensing the efforts to protect their habitat, collaborated by aligning themselves in formations that maximized the barrier's effectiveness. However, the consortium was relentless. They deployed a sophisticated new class of machines designed to harvest asteroids at an accelerated pace, hoping to overwhelm the resonance barrier with sheer volume. As these machines approached the sanctuary, the tension among the crew mounted. During a high-stakes confrontation, the consortium's machines breached the outer layer of the barrier. Alarms blared across the Helios's bridge as the crew scrambled to respond. "Increase power to the emitters," Captain Miles ordered. "We can't let them through." At the critical moment, the creatures intervened directly. Converging around the intruding machines, they generated a pulse of bioenergy so intense that it not only disabled the machines but also left them adrift. The consortium's operators, now fully aware of the creature's capabilities, called off their advance, unwilling to risk further losses. In the aftermath of the conflict, the Helios and its allies gathered to assess the situation. The successful defense of the sanctuary had proven the creature's remarkable ability to protect their domain, and the resonance barrier technology had demonstrated its potential as a non-violent deterrent. This incident has shown us the strength of combining our technologies with the natural capabilities of the creatures, Dr. Tran reflected. By understanding and respecting their abilities, we've not only safeguarded their home, but also pioneered a new approach to protecting vulnerable ecosystems across the galaxy. The consortium's retreat marked a significant victory, but all involved knew it was only a temporary reprieve. The Helios continued to monitor the sector, prepared to defend the sanctuary against future threats. Meanwhile, the story of the asteroid nursery spread, inspiring other star systems to adopt similar protective measures, ushering in an era of enhanced ecological awareness and cooperation that extended beyond the confines of any single world or species. In the months following the defense of the sanctuary, the Helios and its crew found themselves at the heart of a burgeoning new movement. The success of their integrated defense system had drawn attention from across human-occupied space, serving as a model for environmental conservation and interspecies cooperation. News of their stand against the consortium had inspired other systems, leading to the formation of a coalition dedicated to the protection of cosmic habitats. Captain Miles was invited to speak at the Galactic Council, where she presented the case for expanding sanctuary zones. Our experience shows that these creatures, and countless others like them, are not merely inhabitants of these zones but active participants in their ecosystems. Captain Miles addressed the council. They possess intrinsic value and contribute to the cosmic balance. It is our duty to protect them from exploitation and destruction. The council listened intently, moved by the vivid imagery and passionate accounts of the Helios's crew. The motion to expand the network of sanctuaries was met with overwhelming support, and a resolution was passed to fund and enforce these zones galaxy-wide. Back on the Helios, the crew celebrated their diplomatic victory. Dr. Tran and Dr. Rajan continued their collaboration, refining their understanding of the creature's communication methods. They discovered that the creatures not only responded to threats, but could also express joy and contentment. These emotional exchanges deepened the bond between the crew and the creatures, transforming the sanctuary into a shared home. Marco and his team developed further applications for the bioenergy resonance technology, using it to enhance the ship's power systems and reduce their environmental footprint. "We're not just coexisting, we're co-evolving," Marco noted during one of his reports to the engineering team. "Our ship is becoming a part of this ecosystem, just like the creatures." As the Helios continued its mission, the sanctuary thrived. The creatures grew in number, their vibrant lights a beacon in the dark void of space, attracting researchers and conservationists. However, they remained fiercely protective of their domain, now equipped to defend it with the help of human technology. In an unexpected turn, the creatures began to initiate contact more frequently, guiding the Helios to other areas in need of protection. These missions led to the discovery of new species and ecosystems, each unique and requiring bespoke approaches to conservation and interaction. The final months of the mission transformed the Helios from an exploratory vessel into a guardian of interstellar life. The crew's dedication to their roles as protectors of the cosmos reshaped their identities and purpose. As Captain Miles prepared for the return journey to Earth, she reflected on the profound changes that had occurred. "We set out to chart the stars," she mused to her crew, "but we ended up charting a new path for humanity, a path of stewardship and compassion." The Helios's journey back was filled with plans for the future. The crew, now celebrated as pioneers, looked forward to sharing their discoveries and insights, hopeful that their legacy would encourage a more harmonious relationship between humanity and the universe. As they neared Earth, the lights of the creatures dimmed in the viewports, a silent farewell to the humans who had become their allies. But the resonance between them remained, a perpetual echo of their shared experiences, a reminder that in the vast, endless expanse of the cosmos, connections could be formed in the most unexpected places, resonating through the ages.